I love the fact that you're doing the ambassador program. I think that's really powerful. And then like you don't even necessarily need to attack people that have like 50,000, 100,000, 2 million. You can get those micro influencers that have 500, 1,000, 5,000, and like you said, just a small portion of their friends, because that word of mouth, that referral, friend to friend, is like so powerful. All right. We are here on the Sauce Pod. Welcome. This is episode 13. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Pablo Gonzalez from the amazing tree planting clothing brand, Livelihood. I obviously done some research before this, but so I definitely want to dive into that. But we're excited to kind of hear your story, hear your insights, your perspectives. And so without further ado, Pablo, welcome to the Sauce Pod, man.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to, have this conversation with you and,
right.
Kick it back and see what
right
I
on,
can.
Man.
Hopefully, I've got some insights.
Yeah, for sure, man.
My story.
You're an e-commerce business owner. This is cool. I definitely have a passion for businesses. I've built a few brands of my own back in the day, and I know that specifically apparel can be very, very difficult. And so we can kind of discuss that. But I guess for the viewers that don't know who you are, could you tell us about your backstory and your brand and how it got all started?
Yeah, so, again, I'm Pablo Gonzalez. I'm the founder of Livelihood. I'm a first-generation Mexican-American. My parents are immigrants to this country. Out of my, so we're three. We're a family of, three siblings. I'm the only one born in the United States. But as a kid, I always was, passionate about creating my own thing. I knew I always wanted to have my own business and passionate about the environment. So the two have kind of come together. Mm-hmm. Background for Livelihood was in 2017, our neighborhood flooded for the very first time during Hurricane Harvey. Mm-hmm. And I was, born and raised in the same house, out far north in Houston. Now it's basically part of the city, but back then it was, out in the woods. Mm-hmm. And I remember as a child just riding my bike, running the trails behind my house. And over the years, I've seen how those trails have become, more apartments, more parking lots, more strip malls. And our forests have essentially been paved over. Mm-hmm. So when we flooded in 2017, although heartbreaking, it was something that didn't come as a surprise to me due to what we had done to our environment. And so that was one event that kind of started stirring my passion for, okay, I kind of want to do something about this, environmental problem that we're facing as a society here in Houston. And then in 2019, and granted, this was when I was in college, so I was studying, my mind was on other things. In 2019, when I graduated, came back to Houston, within the first 3 months of being back, I saw a developer pave over 51 acres of forest right alongside Cypress Creek, which, the bayou that had flooded 2 years prior during Harvey.
Sure.
And it's not like a property away from the creek, it's right alongside of the creek. Wow. And they cut down the forest, raised their land by 8 feet, just enough, which was actually the level of water to where it had reached, just so that they don't flood. But they essentially paved all that over with apartments, more strip malls, gas stations that we already have a surplus of, here in Houston. And there was just some sort of rage within me as to why are we not learning from our mistakes? It's only going to make it worse for all of us. And I understand that cities need to grow, but I do think that they can grow without coming at the expense of the environment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we built our city in a walkable way, in a dense way where everything was close and didn't really depend on the car, because the majority of that property is parking lot and half of
Yep.
it is apartments. So
Yep.
how can we use our space a lot better? And soon after that, that same year, I reached out to a nonprofit wanting to donate 100 trees
cool.
to my neighborhood. But I had to donate. They came back to me and was like, oh, well, if you want to plant 100 trees, you know, it'll be roughly like a $19,000 donation that I had to make.
What?
And a recent college grad in debt,
Yeah.
there's no way that I'm doing it. No matter how much I wanted to,
Sure.
I couldn't. And that sense of powerlessness sucked.
Mm-hmm.
But it also was what allowed me to get creative, because I didn't like that feeling of I can't do anything about the things that I want to see changed.
Sure.
So I started calling up nurseries and maybe asking the wrong question, because I was asking them, where do you buy your trees from?
Right.
weren't very happy to answer that question.
Sure,
they
sure.
wouldn't answer. They would just hang up.
Oh my gosh.
Fair enough, you know, I started explaining what I wanted to do to some of these nurseries, and some were very receptive to the idea, and they were excited, and they pointed me to one person, and that person led to another person, till I eventually got down to the farmer that actually grows
wow.
grand majority of these trees. And the farm is Tree Life Farms in Highlands, Texas.
Cool.
The owner is Mike Aschenbrenner, great guy. We would definitely not be here without him and the farm. And that's roughly 45 minutes east of downtown Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And so once I was able to find that, you know, figure out what the cost of the tree was, now I had to figure out, okay, now that I know where I can source my trees, what else do I need in order to have an event? You know, will I be paying for labor? Will I be doing this volunteers? Volunteer was obviously the correct route to keep costs low.
Sure.
Also helps build community.
Mm-hmm.
The hard part, too, was working and getting the permits and approvals from the city and finding property to plant. Because before then, I thought it was as easy as just going to a park and planting 100 trees. But it turns out you can get in a lot of trouble for doing that.
Wow.
So you have to get the permits and approvals from the city or whichever government's municipality is in charge of the property that you're trying to plant.
Yeah.
For the first tree planting, it wasn't my neighborhood, but we did Buffalo Bayou Park. They were really excited about what I was wanting to do. Mm-hmm. And we actually went out there and, you know, planted our first 100 trees and sold our first 100 T-shirts to be able to plant those 100 trees. And we were able to do that. I remember it costing us a total of around like $2,800.
Okay.
And that's the $15,000 donation that it was going to be. And you can still walk past those trees. They're right across the police officers' memorial on Buffalo Bayou.
I know what you're talking about. Yep. That's awesome, man. I'm also from Houston as well, and so I know exactly what you're talking about. It's cool because you essentially found like this thing that you wanted to do, which is like, you know, help the environment with the trees and stuff like that. And so you built a brand around that to be able to kind of fuel that. So that's basically what Livelihood stands for, is being able to sell really high quality products that are also from Texas, but then you take some of the profits to then plant the trees. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And a lot of that backstory is just tree related, because that's really what we started off as.
Sure.
The clothing wasn't really the focus of it until a year or 2 years down the line.
Right.
So we were really set up as a tree planting organization, and you would donate $40 and we would give you a free T-shirt.
Gotcha.
What started happening was, you know, maybe some people that had already donated or new people were like, oh, well, you know, I don't really want the T-shirt. If you have a hat, could you just give us a hat instead? Or
sure.
if you have a polo, And just over the first 6-8 months, I started to realize, okay, like, well, people really do care about the product they're receiving in return. It wasn't really for that purpose.
Sure. Yeah.
Just slowly, we started becoming a clothing brand and carrying more products and items. And we were all doing that, like, screen printing locally. We weren't manufacturing anything at this point. As we started getting deeper, we really started thinking about our apparel, because if we're, wanting this sustainable planet, we have to create items that are of very high quality, so that the lifetime on that garment is at least 10 years. We're
Sure.
working to have our lifetime of our products be a full lifetime.
Sure.
And so we just started doing research on fabrics and, where can we source the cotton from? Can we source it locally? Can we track it? Can we, how do we dye it? Where does it get cut and sewn? And we started having all these questions. And so our business kind of grew more complex. And now we do manufacture our own apparel with premium Texas grown cotton. So the cotton is sourced from land near Midland and El Paso. It's also grown in New Mexico, Arizona, and California. So we are using only Texas grown and American grown premium cotton. So what makes it premium, it's extra long staple. It's a special type of cotton plant that actually grows a more durable, softer, silkier cotton. So it's not only, more durable, but it's also softer and it's more comfortable to wear. And I think you were in our store. That's how we met. You got a chance to feel the new apparel on the wall. So
your shop is really nice, and that's where you're at right now, which is really cool. Like I said before we hit record, I had a couple buddies. One is a painter, and he was painting the wall like he had a commission to paint. He lives in Los Angeles, and so he was painting the wall like you're in your shop. You know what I mean? It's just really cool to see creators and entrepreneurs like, sure, I'll be on a podcast, but I'm going to be working. I'm going to be doing my thing. So I just think that's really cool to be able to, catch you and catch everybody in their environment, which is really cool. And yeah, man, there's so much to your story, with the whole Harvey thing. That was insane. And I know, that affected a lot of people, and the water level was just insane. There is a Torchy's Taco out in Kingwood, Texas, and you walk inside and there's this red line that they have on the wall, and that is the indicator of how high the water got. And I'm 6 foot tall, and that water line's it's 10 foot or something like that. It's insane. Yep. And so you're able to see that and kind of it just blows you away. But that's just beyond. And I was doing some research, and it looked like because you also do some stuff in Austin too. But I think, what is the total amount of plants that y'all or trees that y'all planted? It's over 6,000, huh?
Yes. So we have planted 6,608 trees.
Nice.
In majority of them in Houston, 200 of them in Austin. We just started planting trees in Austin this year. But yeah, we've had a tremendous amount of impact in just the 2-3 years that we've been in business. We've helped store over 300,000 pounds of CO2.
Wow.
And to kind of put the size into perspective, the land area, we've helped plant and reforest, reestablish habitats in 132 acres of urban land.
That's amazing. That is amazing. That's, Livelihood is just so much more, and that's the beautiful part about it. Livelihood is so much more than just clothing, you know what I mean? It's just a beautiful movement behind, the environment and how powerful that can be. And it's just so cool how everything kind of unfolded to where it's, people were donating this money to plant a tree, but then you were able to use clothing and other products to kind of give them a tangible incentive. It's hey, here's a shirt, here's a bottle, here's a hat. you just planted a tree. Like that's super cool. I love that. I love that. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, no, that's cool. You also have, and you were explaining this to me when we first met. You also have this like an NFT. You don't have to go super deep into that, but you have this NFT thing. And I say that because I know like NFTs are just like you could just keep going forever, But you have this NFTs component to your business, and it's really interesting because I've never actually seen a clothing brand, have that. But I did see some of the art, and it's super cool because it's your whole thing is like having the city and nature kind of combined. You know what I mean? Kind of coexist with each other, and that's kind of where the NFTs come in. And so I saw some of the art that's on the website, and it's just it's really cool. Could you kind of dive into that just a little bit?
Yeah, so I've always loved computers and technology.
Sure.
And when I saw like the NFT stuff come out, I saw it as like the value behind being able to just provide your customers an even greater chance of becoming a part of the story of your brand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what I wanted to do with the NFTs, and the art focus on exactly what you were saying, which is taking this image that's inside of our livelihood brain and putting it out in the world of a world where city and nature do coexist as one. So in our art, we take some of the most recognizable natural features on our planet and mesh it with some of the most recognizable and metropolitan cities. So you will have like New York City inside of Yosemite National Park, and what would that look like? And some people might get mad because they're like, oh no, but Yosemite, like, you have to keep it natural, and I agree. But I'm talking about in the existing land where our cities currently exist.
Right.
If all that pavement was just left to nature, and whenever you come down to the ground floor of your apartment building, instead of walking out, busy 4-lane road, cars speeding by at 50 miles an hour, you're immediately like in nature. You've got the trees above you, birds chirping, and you walk and you bike to the coffee shop across.
That's amazing.
The natural road, in a sense.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like our whole vision here. But the concept behind it was, how do I get the people that have supported us constantly, especially at the start where, everything money-wise is tight here, a chance to maybe support us and double their investment. We've got a lot of like GoFundMes out there, but we actually wanted to provide our customers a chance to fund us in a way that if we were able to grow and gain popularity, that their NFT value can grow in like monetary value. So it's essentially stock in the company, and that's something that we really wanted to do. Just as a way to thank everyone that supported us. And awesome. They get to have some really cool art that, once you buy the NFT, it unlocks content for you. It unlocks like a lifetime discount to our shop.
Oh, cool.
Several other things, and the actual print of the piece itself.
Yes.
So you can select, hey, which wall do you want to put this in? What's the size of your wall? Oh, well, we recommend, a 48 by 20
That's what I'm talking about.
Piece, and we'll actually send them the art so that they can hang out in their house. So it's not just like a JPEG. It's also something they have in their house. They'll get like the certificate of authenticity signed by me saying that, this is an official piece and it's an official print. And the NFT just serves as also like further, it's like another certificate proving that you are the owner of that artwork. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Because when I first looked at the art, I was like, man, that would be so nice to have on like a real big piece on your wall, like especially because I'm like, I don't know, maybe something back there, like a nice little piece back there or something. I don't know. Like I got a door right there, so I can't really do it there. But I totally love the NFT component to like an apparel brand, and I think that's what kind of separates you guys. And so that's like kind of segue to my next question is how does your brand differentiate itself from other competitors in that apparel space? And I think and I'll let you answer this, but it's like the planting trees and the NFTs, right?
Yeah. So that's the hardest thing about clothing is that it's so competitive. It almost seems like everyone has tried it at least once in their lifetime. So
I've tried it like twice.
How do you set yourself apart? I mean, there's thousands of brands to choose from. Every day, you probably get at least 10 different ads from different clothing brands that you've never heard of on Instagram. So, how do you set yourself apart? And that is the hardest thing about my business is the marketing aspect of it. And the way that we try to do that is by not competing in the space where all the other brands compete. So everyone competes on marketing budget. So, I'm going to throw $10,000 on this Instagram ad. And, that will lead to some conversions and sales. I don't have that marketing budget.
Sure.
My marketing budget is essentially zero.
Sure.
So how, and granted, further backstory is I started this company with $5,000 and all the profits have been reinvested back until this point. So how can we, set ourselves apart? The most obvious one is 25% of our profits go to planting trees in your city. It's not like the profits will go to planting trees in a location or in a country that you've never been to. It's the impact's actually happening in our very own backyard. So
that's solid.
John, if you were to buy a t-shirt, you can actually sign up to come and volunteer and plant the trees that you are helping fund with your purchase.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it too, man.
That's one. We're able to build community through that.
Yeah.
Two, product. So and again, this is a very expensive one. How can we create a product that has been made millions of times and tell it in a new way, tell the story in a new way?
Yeah.
And that's what we invested a ton of money into our new line, which is made with Texas-grown Supima cotton. It's one of the world's finest cottons. It's very rare. I think only 1% of the world's cotton is of this quality.
Oh, wow.
And so that is a further, talking point that we can have about our product beyond it just being really high quality, really minimal, nice. You can wear it with everything, style it with a pair of jeans, dress it up, the way I am with a nice leather jacket, with a coat, or simply just wear it to work out or lounge at home. And we were able to achieve that, in my opinion, with having this ultra premium Texas grown cotton, because I don't know of any other brand that is saying, this is made with cotton grown in your very own state.
Yeah,
and
that's
if you buy it, it also helps plant trees in your city. Yeah. And if you want, you can sign up to come volunteer. So granted, how do I set myself apart is really focusing on how can I tell a story at every single touch point of my brand. Our backstory, we didn't really have to create that or develop that. That just happened naturally. So one of the beauties of our story, it tells itself.
Yeah.
But once we've gotten in it, how do we set ourselves apart in other ways? And how do we get someone that maybe doesn't, really care about the environment or trees to still want our product? And ultimately, at the end of the day, help plant trees whether they care or not.
Right.
And that's the ultimate goal, is to create a product that everyone wants to wear regardless of if they do good or not.
Sure. Yeah.
And that way we'll be able to have a larger impact.
Yeah, no, that's great. I do like the minimal branding that your brand has, because like this shirt here is just literally nothing on it. You know what I mean? It's got a pocket and like that's kind of how I
Consume.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, see, very minimal, just a tree, livelihood.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can rock that around, and like you said, you can rock it how you're doing it, put a nice leather jacket on there. You know what I mean? You got the, I love the color palette that you guys use. When I walked into the shop, it was y'all's hoodies that drew my attention. And so they looked really soft and comfortable. And so I thought that was really cool. And like you were saying just a minute ago, like it's really hard to tell a story on something that's been like a t-shirt. Like there's so many, you know what I mean? It's a t-shirt, you know what I mean? And so like how do you do that? You know what I mean? I think you guys are doing a really amazing job with having the planting the trees and the NFTs and just really doing everything you can to set yourself apart when it comes to these type of products. You know, like one thing that comes to mind is you know, like a commodity like water, you know what I mean? And I think that, I don't know if you've heard of Liquid Death, but they are just absolutely crushing the water scene. They're competing with like Red Bull and all these like high end, you know, energy drinks, and it's just water in a can. And it's just like this, you mentioned community, and it's just this die-hard community of people that like this like dark humor. And it's really fascinating to me how someone can just take a can of water and just turn it into nearly $1 billion business, you know, within a few years. And so like that just lets me know, like if you have the right story, the right branding behind it, you know, you can turn, you know, a shirt company, you know, an apparel brand into something like bigger than it really is. You know what I mean? There's like that movement behind it. There's the community behind it. Yeah, you did mention community, and I was curious, like how has that impacted your brand so far? Is that like, do you have like a number on the amount of community people that you have?
So we have the number. We track it by volunteers. So I have it on my sign behind me. We've had a total of 570 volunteers come out to our tree plantings. And a lot of those people come back and they volunteer again at the next tree planting. And through those events, I'm able to actually get to, because I'm at every single tree planting, I'm able to actually like interact with all of our customers or all of our people that maybe they haven't shopped but volunteer, and I'm able to talk with them and share with them and give back to our planet with them. And I think that's really what keeps driving this, even though financially sometimes it might get tough or things might go south sometimes. But when I'm out there planting trees with everyone that has shown support and everyone that, you know, believes in this better, greener future too, like that's inspiring. And that's really how we've been able to build community. Yeah. I wish that we could, you know, keep taking it further and do more and more tree plantings and you know, more events and things like that. But you know, the tree plantings are really like the point where we get to interact all with one another, and it's really special because it is directly linked to our mission of planting trees. And I don't envision a better way to engage as a community than actually being out there doing the dirty work.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I think that's really important for a founder to go out there and, you know, meet the people, build relationships. I think that I had a mentor back a couple years ago. It's actually right after Harvey. I went out to California, and it was a beer company called Beach Grease Beer Co. And long story short, you know, he's still doing his thing. He's actually ironically building a water company called Future, but with a PH. And so I thought that was pretty clever. And so he's like building that, and he's, you know, pushing that out. But he always told me that when you build like a brand like that, you build the community, and the community will lift up the brand. And so I think as of right now, like, I think that like you're doing everything that you need to be doing, you know what I mean? Like holding down that story, the movement that Livelihood stands for. And then all you got to do is just like build up that like relationship with the community. You know what I mean? So I think that what I'm trying to say is that like keep just like the community's gonna like grow the company for sure. You know what I mean? It just unfortunately takes a little longer than like you would want it, because like you said, like you know, having like marketing money is like very difficult. You know what I mean? It's just like, man, like, you know, you could have $10,000, you're going to put it into Facebook, TikTok ads, whatever, you know what I mean? And so it's interesting. I did want to kind of dive in to a little bit of marketing. What marketing have you done like in the past, and are you doing anything right now to kind of bring some awareness to Livelihood?
So I actually see our shop here as a big marketing component.
Nice.
It's having people constantly walk by our store. I mean, that's where we met, and that's how you found that brand.
Exactly.
So I do see our retail stores, our, you know, whenever we set up at a trade show, at a market, to me, that's, yeah, they're points of sales, but they're really a marketing point for us right now, just getting the brand name out there.
Yeah.
In terms of like digital marketing, we stopped running ads on Facebook and Instagram. We weren't seeing the results we wanted, and you know, I really do know why. It's just the constant competition, the outspending by competitors. I just can't compete.
Sure.
On that. So we actually switched over to Google Ads. We stopped doing any sort of social media marketing besides just organic reach, engagement, and stuff like that. But on Google Ads, we are targeting specific keywords such as, like, you know, premium men's tees or sustainable clothing for a good cause. So if anyone were to look up these keywords,
pop up.
we would be the first one to show up.
Yeah.
We just started that this past week.
Oh, cool.
And I think we're spending, like $100 a month, which is not a lot. But I also struggle with like this ethical dilemma of, well, would this money be better served planting more trees?
Oh, I see.
And this is always something I grapple with whenever I go and spend on something on the business. It's like, what's the trade-off? You know, with this $1,000, we could plant, you know, another 50, you know, 40, 50 trees. But will this action have an impact that will then help us do 500? And those are the questions I'm always dealing with.
Yeah.
And
it's like almost like the chicken or the egg kind of scenario, right? It's like or a catch-22 kind of thing. It's like I got to do this before I can do this, but it's like I need a car to get a job, and I need a job to get a car. You know.
Exactly, and that's really tough too. So it's like, how do we rationalize some decisions, and how do we sacrifice on some others for the mission? Sure. Because at the end of the day, our mission is front and center to everything that we do. And we don't want to do anything or create anything that could come in the way of harming that mission. And stopping us from doing what we started out to do. And I never want to forget that.
Sure.
And the tree plantings are always a constant reminder of this is why we're doing it. And for that week that we planted trees, it helps put things into perspective as to, okay, like all the financial, like investments, all of that, all the struggles are worth it, because today we planted 215 trees. Yeah,
you mentioned yes, that's insane. Like you mentioned your store being like part of your marketing. Back to the mentor, the beer company, he actually was trying to figure out how he could market his brand, the beer company. He actually bought a van and just put the beach grease on the van, and anytime he was like driving around town, you know, he just had this like movable billboard, which I thought was like, obviously he had the budget to put that in, but it was just it was a little different than what I've seen before. Instead of just getting a fixed billboard, he actually went out and got a van and put Beach Grease Beer Co. on the side of the van. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it's interesting too with the planting the trees. I was curious, are y'all doing any TikTok like videos while y'all are out there? Is anybody like putting out like any organic content out there?
I try.
I try.
Our marketing budget is tight, so a lot of it, I try to see if I can do myself.
Sure.
Before I have to hand that off. But we do hire photographers and sometimes videographers to go out there, shoot video content for us that we then use to, post on Instagram primarily. Trying to be better about posting on TikTok.
Right.
But yeah, the ultimate goal is, we are posting our videos, videos about our apparel, how to style it on our social media.
Yeah, because I know TikTok is like, I'm not necessarily on there. Like I run an agency, and so it like seems a little disconnected when I like am doing an agency like for TikTok. So it's a little odd. But like we're also doing this podcast as well to try and just build our brand and build the relationships. And so like we'll break these podcasts into micro pieces of content, and then we can put that, we distribute that everywhere else. You know what I mean? We'll take this podcast and I'll cut it up into 6, 7, 10 different pieces and just put it all over the internet. You know what I mean? And so, I can upload 14, 15 pieces of content with just 2 podcasts. You know what I mean? So it's like pretty efficient to be able to do something like this. And so, if like for Livelihood, if that's something that you'd be interested, it'd be kind of cool to do the same, to check out the podcast land, you know what I mean? Even if it's just audio, you know what I mean? Like low lift, barrier to entry. You literally just put on like and nowadays podcasts are everywhere, so they have like amazing tools to do whatever you need, you know what I mean, to get your stuff out there. The issue is that like these type of marketing things are just like long term, you know what I mean? Like you gotta like put it in your head that you're gonna be doing this podcast for 10 years, you know what I mean? When you know that, when you're like, all right, this is gonna be a 10-year endeavor, you could just like, just move forward, you know what I mean? Like, all right, here we go, you know what I mean? So just, push forward on that one. Man, that is
before we move on, I was remembering 2 of the other very important marketing tools that we use. So a lot of our like say customers or avid supporters, we try to get them into our ambassador program.
Oh, cool.
And our ambassador program is it requires several things from the ambassador. It's post a picture of you wearing your Livelihood gear once a month on your newsfeed on Instagram, and twice on your story. It can be, I'm out at the park and I take a picture of my bottle and say, I love my Livelihood bottle, tagging us on their story. So you essentially have 3 tasks to do every month, and then every quarter that you complete those tasks, we actually send you a free item.
Oh, cool.
You're choosing. So like, I don't have the tank top. I want the tank top for girls. I want the lavender tank top. Sure. For men, like, hey, send me the white polo. I already have the blue. So it's a way of getting our customers, also rewarding our customers and supporters. Hey, for your support, we want to give you something free.
Yeah.
But in exchange, you're also helping spread the word to, your 1,000, 2,000 followers that, and your immediate circle, and they're definitely going to trust your words. So you're saying, hey, yes, I'm an ambassador of this brand, but like I actually really love their materials and what they stand for. At least 5, 6 of those friends on Instagram are going to come over and follow us, or at least go on our website and see, what we're all about.
Yeah.
Now, another thing, and this is probably a very important thing, but there's no good way for me to quantify it. We print out a certificate with your purchase. So when you buy something, we'll print out your certificate here in store, and it'll come printed out with your name or the name of the person you're gifting the product to, or if you want to help plant the trees in honor of someone. And it'll say your name and then the total number of trees that we've planted. And on the back of that certificate, it has QR codes so that you can sign up to volunteer. You can see where all of our trees are planted and all that. It's a 4x6, so it's easy to frame, but it's one of these things that add value to the purchase as well. So I get something that I'm going to either pin on my wall, I'm going to stick on my refrigerator, I'm going to frame it because it's part of a gift. And every time you come across it, you look at the certificate and it's like, oh, Livelihood. It comes back into my brain. Oh, that was really cool. Or, someone's birthday might be coming up. You walk by your fridge, you see the certificate and be like, oh, Livelihood, that would be a great gift.
Yes.
So these certificates, and it doesn't really cost us much besides our time here at our store and like a few cents that it costs to buy the paper.
Sure.
But that impact, I think, is great because we stopped doing it for, I think, like 7 months. And we really stopped when we kind of changed our model from one product sold, plants one tree, to 25% of the profits. When we started becoming more of a clothing brand. And so we stopped doing it because it wasn't really a tree certificate. But now we just call it an impact certificate.
That's cool. That's
you're
good.
Helping make an impact with your purchase.
Absolutely.
And we have started to see our online sales increase. Now, is that coming through our Google ads or is it word of mouth coming from the certificates?
Sure.
I'm not able to quite tell you. I'm not like a huge data scientist where I can analyze all this data, but I do think that's a big marketing piece. And if you have your own brand and you're trying to see like, how can I add value or what can I do? Think about what else can I give my customer that maybe other people aren't doing. And it might come in the form of stickers or it might come in the form of a certificate.
Yeah.
But
I love that.
As long as it fits your brand, because in our case, it fits our brand to have a certificate.
Yeah.
But in the case of a skateboard brand, maybe it's a little tech deck with your logo on it.
Sure.
So try to think of creative ways of adding value to the purchase.
Yeah, no, that's powerful. I love that. And like you remind me of like influencer marketing, which I think is like is just amazing, right? Like I have a buddy that has he has a video game production and distribution company. He was actually able to package some of his games and send them to some YouTube influencers, and one of them picked it up, and it just like blew his like game, like it just did really well for him. And so I love the fact that you're doing the ambassador program. I think that's really powerful. And then like you don't even necessarily need to attack people that have like 50,000, 100,000, 2 million. You can get those micro influencers that have 500, 1,000, 5,000, and like you said, just a small portion of their friends, because that word of mouth, that referral, friend to friend, is like so powerful. And so yeah, like even having like a referral program would be really cool for like unless you already have one, but.
Yeah, we do. So if you refer someone, we give all of our ambassadors a unique link so that they're able to share that with their friends, and that tracks if they have helped, make any sales, and it actually sends them a 15% commission as a way to thank them for that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You're not going to become like, you're not going to make a living promoting Livelihood, but hey, every now and then you sell a hoodie to a friend. Hey, that's $15. I can go get a burger somewhere. So
that's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, that's solid. And this is just something that popped in my head earlier. But like you have like the volunteering and the tree planting thing. Have you thought about? And I'm sure you've thought about all of it because of like the necessity of not having the budget for marketing. So you get creative. But there's like Airbnb experiences. You could put like Livelihood's thing on there, and so people look for experiences that are happening in Houston. It's like, hey, come plant some trees with us. You know what I mean? I think that would be kind of a cool thing. And you could charge for it. Oh, that's awesome.
Big experiences.
Yeah. Airbnb experiences, you could charge a couple bucks for it, and then you could have people come out and have like more of an experience rather, because I know you do the volunteers, and so that's free, right? But then like having somebody charge, you might say, hey, come do this, come do that. Like we'll have like a whole pop-up shop, and then like you get a free shirt or whatever. It's like a couple bucks or whatever for it to make sense for you guys, But because anytime that me and my wife we were in Spain for 3 months, and like that was one of the main things we wanted to do was like get on Airbnb and look at the experiences around. We were able to tour like a castle and drink some wine. That was really nice. We would go horseback riding, and so just an idea, just a cool little idea that popped in my head.
Yeah, we can say come plant trees and visit the tree farmer or something like that. And
yeah, see, that would be
at the tree farm.
Yeah, exactly. That would be awesome. No, that's cool, man. No, I think that Livelihood, everything that you guys are doing is like really cool. And I'm excited to be a part of it. My business partner, he's also named Sean as well. He was supposed to be here, but he had some personal stuff to take care of. But I definitely want to get with him and have him come out and we can go and like plant some trees. I've actually, I'm sad to say this, but I've actually never planted a tree before, and so I'd like to get my hands dirty and give it a shot. I think that'd be cool.
You're the perfect future customer of Livelihood, the one that's never planted the tree, but the moment you plant your first tree, you fall in love with it, and you just want to keep doing it. Surprisingly, awesome. I had never planted a tree before starting Livelihood. Planting those first 100 trees, and I had to, not only learn how to plant a tree myself, but teach 50 volunteers how to plant a tree. So, like,
right?
Fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
In a sense.
That's cool. There's this like really cool thing like that I learned about. So when you pass away, there's this urn where you can plant and you turn into a tree. I always thought that was super cool. Like you're I don't know. It's like I forget what that's called, but it just sounds really cool to me.
Yeah. So they
reincarnation. That's what it was.
Yeah, they plant you into. It's like this ball. And they put your ashes in this ball with like a seed of the tree species that you want. And I believe it's like your ashes act as like a fertilizer for this beautiful tree. And so like technically your legacy lives on through these trees. And we actually do get a lot of people that go on our website and donate a tree in honor of someone that has recently passed away. So on our website, if you just go to like the men or women section, it'll show give back, plant a tree. So you can just go and donate $30
cool.
and donate a tree in honor of someone. We'll send you the certificate.
Oh, cool.
With like several stickers, and so that you can frame it, you can use it as a gift. And we link that email to your tree, so we're able to tell you, hey, your tree will be planted, on January 28th at this park. If you want to come out, sign up to volunteer, and come, plant your tree as a family.
Nice.
If not, I'll send you an email with the coordinates so you can actually go out and see where your tree was planted.
Oh, that's so cool, man.
So
there's like a lot going into it too, and y'all just like. Y'all just have every single detail, like, when it comes to stuff like this. This is really cool. I love it. Cool, man. Yeah, I think that we're good. It's like 50 minutes now. I do want to say, or ask, where can the viewers find you, and like if they want to sign up to go plant a tree, like what are all your social media stuff, and like how do we find you?
So our website, where you can shop online and you can sign up to volunteer, is shoplivelihood.com. So again, that's shoplivelihood.com. If you want to follow along our mission on social media, it's just at Livelihood on Instagram. That is LIVELIHOOD on Instagram. If you type that in on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, cool. We should come up. But if you can't find us on those platforms, try Shop Livelihood.
Okay. Cool.
As well, you can find us at our store here at Railway Heights Market in Houston at 8200 Washington Avenue. If Houston,
Awesome.
Texas 77007.
Awesome. And I'll put all that in the show notes. Pablo, man, I really appreciate your time and talking to you. And I definitely look forward to hanging out with you and your team and in the community and planting some trees, man. I really appreciate your time.
Awesome, man. Thanks, Sean. I really appreciate it. Glad I got to hop on the sauce pod and tell my story a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're also growing. So we're a small podcast, and so maybe a couple. We'll definitely be, looking forward to having you again later on. In the future. So we're just here to hang out and talk about cool stuff and I really like and enjoy marketing and trying to build brands, and so being able to brainstorm on that type of stuff I think is really fun. So, but yeah, again, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, an idea for you. You should create a gathering for all the business owners that have gone on the Sauce Pod.
Yes.
And that way we can all network and get to know each other, see how we can bounce off ideas. So
that's super cool. Yeah, I love that. I actually want to create a small community, like a free community group. So anybody that I meet, you would be a part of the Sauce Pod community, and I want to build that, you know what I mean? And so then definitely be able to have an in-person thing, I think would be really cool too. So
yeah, because that adds value to your podcast. It's all that community thing. And if you take anything out of this, think of your business. If you're starting your own business, how can I build a community around it? But yeah, that would be huge value, and you can maybe start even getting some larger businesses on here, because there's value in, hey, I get to know other business owners that can become my suppliers or can sell our product, or so it's hey, come and get to network with other business owners in your area, and hey, you never know, those meetings can lead to other ideas and new businesses that then will be featured on the Sauce Pod. So
I love that, dude. I'm writing it down right now. Sauce Pod community. And I definitely want to a lot of times we'll go to farmers market, not farmers, is it farmers markets? Yeah, farmers markets, and we'll see other pop-up shops. And so I try and get to know the owners. You know what I mean? There's this really cool soap brand here in Houston. I'm sure you're familiar with this. Was it Pop Soap? I've been wanting to get a hold of them. I haven't met the owner, but it would be really cool to get them on here. So that's what I want to do. Kind of what you're saying is find other local Houston people, get them on the Sauce Pod, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Houston related, but that's a start. A real quick quote that I heard years ago. I used to go to these hardcore shows, music shows, right? Kind of in Humble, Texas area. And one of the singers of this band was saying, if you could take over your town, you can take over the world. And I was kind of trying to understand that, you know what I mean? It's take over your town, you know what I mean? Build a small community, and that community will grow, and you can eventually take over the world, you know what I mean? So I always kind of loved that quote, and I'm slowly trying to build that as well. So, but yeah, man, this was great, and we'll look forward to having you again sometime in the